Good morning, traders, and welcome to Phoenix Blues Morning Update for Friday the 13th of May 2016. Hope you're all well today. Now, there's a fair amount going on onto the markets, but before we crack on with that, I just want to discuss pretty much what's happened this week. In fact, no, let's go straight to the indexes first, because I think that's probably the best port of call. So having a look here first, we're having a look at the FTSE Blue Chip Index. As we can see, it's opened up, gapping down at 6,078. A lot of the indexes have continued to slide, only marginally, following on from yesterday, the performance from yesterday, where we've pretty much had everything in the negative territory, only marginally after short rallies, especially out in Asia at the opening of their Friday morning. The Nikkei spiked and then has come down and retreated, following off the back of the fall from the S&P, which we're going to have a look at right now, which we will also see. And let me just bring that chart up really quickly, like so. Following on from the S&P, that's the weekly time frame. Just moving on to this daily time frame here, we can see it retreated, and right now it's floating at 2,054. Dow Jones is also margining down. The DAX, have a look at the DAX. It has gapped down considerably. This is a daily time frame, and what we're down around 0.4% on the DAX as well, which is a little unusual, because most people are actually looking at a slight surge in on the DAX, especially with the expansion in the economy, reported expansion in the economy out in Germany. So we just had a quick look at the indexes. Want to have a quick look at WTI here. WTI right now is sitting at 46.32. Brent's also up. We are currently right now sitting at a high for this year, as we can see. It's broken the previous levels, and the previous high is sitting at 46.73. We've broken that, slid slightly down. Inventories over this week, as well as announcements from the IEA, have basically prompted the markets to kind of carry on pushing. Also, risk off from a lot of shares and stocks, particularly in the oil stocks, and then directly into the commodity itself, as partially contributed to the surge in WTI. It looks very, very strong, and the outlook does right now seems as if this will continue. So maybe after a slight retracement, and then looking to carry on in this bullish momentum. Keep your eyes tuned on this for next week. Moving on, we're just going to have a quick look right now at the price of gold. Now, the strength of the dollar has caused the price of gold to drop back this week. Just having a look at a daily time frame right now. It's fallen back, came down to the low here, as we can see, earlier on in the week, of $1,256.59 dollars to the troy ounce. Coming up, hitting a high, and then retreating back yesterday, and that's primarily the strength of the dollar that's contributed to this. But right now, it's sitting at that 12.73, which is a good price, or it tends to be a good price for gold, as you guys will see if you go back and have a look at this weekly time frame and see the amount of levels of support and resistance through it. Now, moving on, we're just going to have a quick look at a couple of currencies. Having a look at the euro right now. So the euro is still very much on this bullish march here. Has had a slight pullback. Of course, we've had strength in the dollar, but for those people that are technically savvy and able to draw simple things like trend lines, what you'll be able to find is that this is still playing to the trend line. It's still very much in bullish territory, even though we're in a pullback right now. It does look like it's still holding ground, and it's still making moves and riding that wave long. So please be aware of it potentially next week. Having a quick look at CAD. CAD obviously has taken a bit of a tumble, following on from what's happened last week, in particularly with the fires that had a slight bearing on the Canadian dollar, more so on oil, or it was reported more so on oil, but it did have a slight bearing, as we can see on our chart, on the Canadian dollar. But also, let's not forget the price of oil has had a bearing on this too. So this is looking short, very well. It's looking like it's continuing, and it's had this pullback right now. And we can honestly say that potentially looking for it to come back down to a strong level of support and resistance, potentially giving us a reversal pattern, maybe setting us up for this shoulder and a head. So it could give us a reversal pattern here on this weekly time frame. Potentially we will see what happens with this as well. Just wrapping up now, what we're going to do, just have a look at the announcements for today. It's Friday the 13th. Unlucky for some, lucky for others. For me personally, it's a very lucky day. But I'm not going to tempt it around some of the announcements that we're seeing in play. Primarily on the USD, as we can see, core retail sales, PPI, and we've got another announcement on consumer sentiment later on in briefly after the opening bell. So not huge announcements, but definitely, as we can see, they're labeled up as red flags. Do we need to be aware of them? Most certainly if you're trading intraday, if you're trading end of day, as long as your stops are behind good levels and they're in safe places, and they're wide enough, you should be okay. Okay, chaps, enjoy your weekends wherever you might be, and until next week, happy trading. Goodbye.